And now a 1-minute riff by Sarah Kennedy. Bear with me. If you could change one piece of art in its entirety to another perfect piece of different art, what would it be? So, for example, turning like Terminator 2 into a sculpture of Terminator 2 that carries all of the resonance like it is a one-to-one. So what piece of art would you turn into a different piece of art, and why? Go.
Sure. Initially, I think about putting that Scream painting of the guy on the bridge screaming, just kind of anywhere. I think it'd be a fun thing to put it in like a YouTube video, and it's the jump scare that comes out. Like it's like, ooh, Scream, but it's art. So like now you've elevated the YouTube jump scare. I also think that would be a kind of a fun thing to have sitting in the corner of a movie, Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, where it's like the scream is there and it's only during horror movies. So you can expect the next Saw movie would always have him in the corner or something like that, just to remind you, like, you can compare what it is that you're seeing with what you know about the weight of that piece too, and you can be like, well, this is bad or good based on the comparison between the two pieces at all times. So then your letterboxd review would be it'd be a little weightier, I think, because you'd actually have some comparison.
Time.
Great.
Good.
Okay, and now a 60-second improvised speech from Alex Knight about what to do if a bird gets in your house.
Oh, it depends on the bird. You know, if it is a hummingbird, may you gently capture it and not give it a heart attack and let it back into the world to pollinate. If it's a sparrow, same thing, a dove, any of those. If you're getting into your birds of prey, that's a little different. Because you might have a battle on your hands there, but it's generally throw a blanket over them and then get them outside. Now, if you're in the outback and you're dealing with an emu or something like that, that's probably a totally different situation because that's a big flightless bird. So you're probably going to shoot it and eat its meat or something because it probably got out from your farm and it's a bad emu and it's trying to pull some animal farm shit. That we don't need to be happening right now because I got to pay for my kids' dental work because my kids got fucked up teeth because my wife has bad genetics.
Time.
New Zealand people have fine teeth, I'm sure.
Need a bigger blanket.
Yeah, and maybe it was confusing. I meant more like, so you would take the painting, The Scream, and if you could turn that painting into like a full movie that somehow honored the painting or whatever.
I think being in the corner of a Saw movie does
counts.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Cool. Great. Gotcha. Perfect. I love it. All right. Hey, shall we?
Let's go.
All right.
Welcome to the Goofball Coalition, the podcast that lives where improv and stand-up collide. And now, here's your hosts, Alex Knight and Sarah Kennedy.
I love part twos.
Oh, so okay. I want to. Did you go see a show before you decided you wanted to get back into it and audition, or what kind of was the catalyst for that?
Yeah, I did. I did go see it, and I think I saw it when I was, or I guest played with you guys when I would like visit. Yeah, and then I think, I was just incommunicato with some of everyone, and like people were like, you should come do it, like come see the show or come audition. And then I finally just took the leap and was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah.
How nice to be missed. We did miss you. It was like I got to do improv with you for years and it was wonderful, and then you disappeared, and like I don't know, you assume those kind of relationships like it's gone or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're back and now I get to play with you again. It's super fun.
It's like old times, like nothing ever even changed. It's wonderful.
Yeah, to our listeners, if you haven't seen Leslie improvise, definitely come down and check her out.
Have a good time.
Leslie, can you tell me about, and again, you're pretty good, so you might have less of these, but a bad improv show, like how, or like, have you had a bad sketch show? Like, how do you feel? How do you grapple with those feelings? How do you process that?
Yes, I know that I have had a bad improv show.
Yes.
I know. And for me, it's just kind of like, I don't know, in the show, it's when it's happening, you're just like, I might retreat a little bit, and you're kind of like, okay, what? And this is more like, I guess that would be long form, because with short form, you have that boop, and then you're out.
Yeah.
And you boop. But like with long form, you have
that
to.
Back line is just like retreating. You can feel everyone be like, "You gonna help them? Are you gonna go?"
Right.
Or
Yeah.
then no one walks out for like a beat or two. You're like, "We're fucked."
And then you get in your head about it.
Yeah, you're dead at that point.
Yeah, it's just awful. And then what I try to do after that is, you all go backstage and talk about it. And then I just, it's like that, water off a duck's back, right? Just, it's done. Like any improv show, we've never done it before. We're never going to do it again.
Yeah.
We're over.
Do you think it's important to talk about a bad show or talk about a good show after?
Yeah, I think with a bad show, there is a good thing to talk about, like, hey, what was going on? Like, what happened? And then you go, oh, okay, but you shouldn't like beat it to death. Like you shouldn't.
Or try to fix it.
Yeah.
Let's never do that again, because you probably won't. Like, that's the thing, is we're like, let's not do that. And it's like, well, duh. Like,
right.
But it is important to call out the thing that happened to have the no duh moment, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. And I think lately now, because I have the experience, I can tell someone, and I think I've done this backstage too, but I'll be like, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking, or I thought it was something else, and I'm so sorry. Because like maybe I derailed it. And I think I'm more aware of when I do that than I was back in the day. And I think it's interesting, because I think a lot of people, back in the day, I felt like they were more aware of what was happening or how it went wrong. And I'd be like, huh? I had fun, yeah. And then like with sketch, it's so hard when it's bombing. Yeah. But I
stop it, right? Like I related a story about a play I did where it wasn't going well, and you're just like, we gotta finish the sketch.
Yeah, keep going. Well, I was trying to think of our Doodles show. There was one sketch that was like just weird. Oh, one night, and you guys know this, it happens, the audience was weird. And I know it would, because usually you blame the audience when the bed bad, and that it's, but this time it really was, because we had 2 previous shows that were a hit, and then the third one just was a weird audience. And I think it was a bunch of people that just didn't think they could laugh out loud.
Sure.
I don't know, but I was telling my buds backstage, the Doodles, I was like, I'm so proud of us, because usually when you have a bad show or something's going wrong, you speed up and you try to get it over with.
Sure.
But we didn't.
Yeah.
We just relaxed into it. We did the show that we did for everybody.
Here's the thing, let them not like it for what it is. Not, I didn't like it and it was all rushed and weird, and that's more why I didn't like it, and they can blame that. Be like, no, fuck them, we're going to give them the show.
Yeah.
They like it. Yeah.
They get the show. And then they can fuck off. Those audiences are weird though, man. Whew.
This is a question that I've asked Alex before too, because in stand-up, you're kind of always taking temperature about where the audience is and who they are.
Yeah.
And in improv, you can kind of do that too. Is there any way in sketch that you're able to kind of be like checking in and seeing if they're like?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's more of like, I have done that adjustment of having a sketch and knowing that the audience, oh God, I just thought of one. Okay. And I don't know if I adjusted well enough, because you do notice. And then in sketch, for me at least, you're still saying the same words, but maybe you'll like, add a button, or you'll like be, a turned up part of your character. And I don't know how to explain it. And maybe you guys would understand, but sometimes you just know what will make that audience laugh. So you just add that button, or you add something different, and then that'll get a giggle. Especially if you're doing it over and over and over again, right? So I guess with improv, it's hard because you're just doing that one night, but like sketch, you have the 4 shows or the, I don't know, 6 shows or whatever. So you're able to kind of adjust and play around and be weird and like, find the funny in the sketch. But I just thought of this sketch I wrote for the Groundlings, and it was in the final show. And it was, have you ever heard of those ladies that do their husband yodeling?
Yes.
It's
But
like
explain it for those who are listening at home.
Yes. So it's in Wisconsin or the Midwest, really, right? And it's ladies that yodel for their husbands. And it's like a special contest at a fair, and they do all this fun yodeling. So I thought it'd be great if we had a contest between me, the yodeler that had just gotten done with her chili eating contest, and another lady that was a yodeler. And it killed in class. It killed. And then I got on stage that night, the one night I could do it, and it was just silent. And they weren't laughing as much as they did in class. I was so mad.
That's got to be more akin to stand-up. Like, I crafted this bit, and like the failure of this thing that you loved and you put like work into.
Yeah.
Not failure, but like,
it was a failure.
The experiment didn't work that night, but
right.
I mean, the hypothesis is wrong.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we've talked a lot about this, and there is not a lot of sketch in Albuquerque right now? There's more, like quite a few people on the show put up sketch shows and stuff. They're coming, but like the audience might not, like you said, know how to laugh out loud. Sarah talks about how she trains her audiences. We talk at the top of our show, we teach them how to participate and all that. Certain games, like we do line games that are bad puns, and like they groan when we intro it, and we're like, that's right, groan during these. They're bad jokes or whatever. So do you feel like you need that Albuquerque doesn't know how to watch sketch yet, maybe?
That's such a good question, because I'm trying to think of, each sketch school, I guess I would say, had their style of teaching it, and then the audience would come to that style, right? So Second City has their own style. Mm-hmm. You know what you're going to expect when you go see a Second City show. Mm-hmm. The Groundlings has their own style that you know what you're to expect. And here it's like people are more experimenting.
Yeah.
And just
I have no idea. Honestly, I go see the sketch shows that my friends are putting up, and I have no idea what it's going to look or feel like every time.
Right.
And that's fun, but it's also, I can imagine difficult as an audience member in some capacity.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that is so interesting because, I've done that same thing too, where you go see the sketch that I've seen here, and it is so different. And then you're just like, I'm just like, oh man, people are so fun, and I love all these different ways of putting up stuff, which is great. But I think maybe since there's only theater, mm-hmm. and then like the comedy part, of like stand up and improv. So like there isn't that, maybe the Albuquerque isn't used to the middle. Is it a middle ground? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
That ground to it and laugh and know how to laugh at it.
Yeah. Well, in a weird way, they need you to laugh. Like, and same thing, Sarah's talked about this too. It's like, hey, like you can sit there and you're used to maybe not laughing at home, but like here, like the laughs help us.
We need them. Like it's necessary.
And it feels like the improv show, definitely they know that, but it's something that people need to learn a little bit.
Right.
Interactive medium. And I think sketch, because it feels like theater, maybe it feels even less interactive. You're like, cool, they're doing their thing, but it's like, no, you're here. You're very much here. There's improv in it.
Yeah. You're here. You don't have to yell anything out.
Please don't.
Please don't, actually.
Although I will say, I put up this show, my friends and I wrote a musical called Carmen Sandiego, the musical. Yes. And I wanted to ask geography questions during the show.
Yeah.
But it was really hard to get people to answer them
because they're all quiet. Not supposed to. Yeah, because they thinking one of you is in the audience as a plant or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it is hard. You do kind of have to train them.
Is there a funny sketch, like an opening sketch for your sketch show that teaches people how to watch sketch?
Oh.
I guess how to watch sketch 101 is the first sketch.
That's such a... No, I don't know. Should there be?
audience orientation.
Not for every show,
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
think. I just meant for like a funny bit. But
for what?
maybe for
For a
everyone.
funny little bit, like this is how to watch the Doodles.
Yeah.
This is how to watch, this sketch show, or this is.
It'd be funny to see, this is how you watch this one, this is how you watch this one, but you're here to see this one. So then the first two are made up fake ones.
So yeah, don't go to
Yeah, it's like the Juggalo Boys or something.
Yeah.
Like this one, and that's like, but you're here to see the Doodles. This is what you
This
get
is
your
what
can
you
of beans, get your pillow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get your laughing on. Don't hold it in.
Can we let you maybe, I'm hoping, gush a little bit about your group here? Like, tell us about Doodles, how that started, who these lovely ladies are.
I love them. Do you want me to
elaborate.
name them?
You better.
Up to you. Elaborate.
Here's the deal. We're a young group that started with Chelsea Sword and Jill Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
They got together and said that they wanted to do a writing group, right? So, and then they just kind of asking around. They wanted to do something for Albuquerque Funny Fiesta.
Mm-hmm.
That was our first goal. Personally, I love goals. I love deadlines, especially for sketch. It really helps. So that's when we first got together. We're just like, I don't know, let's just write something for that. And then, I don't know, we worked so well together. We had so much fun that it was just kind of like in our bones to do a full sketch show. Because we always said when we're going to do the show, when we do the big show, when we do our Just Us show. So then we got together and wrote. I forgot the question. I just love them.
You're killing it.
You're
You're
doing
doing
it.
a great job.
Who else is there? Jeanette Cerami, Kelly Schaefer, me. So it's just 5 ladies. What I love about it.
God, I thought there was 6. It feels like there's 6. You carry the energy of 6 women.
New Mexico is like its own character in the show. It's like
sure. Albuquerque.
Yes. You're right. Yes. Now I'm freaking out if there is 6 and I didn't name somebody.
Yeah, Jessica. You forgot about Jessica.
But yeah, the reason why I really love these ladies is everybody's pretty, and not that you shouldn't be a part of something if you don't have experience, but we're all pretty experienced on putting stuff up, right? So when we were putting up this show, everyone just took a part of what we needed and just worked together. It was like a big group project that nobody was slacking on.
Oh, the dream.
For what? For love of Philly? I don't know. It's so cool to see people be like, I've got this skill set. I can do this. I can get a videographer. We can build this. And yeah.
It was exactly that. Like literally Chelsea was like, I love making props. Let me do that.
You're like, I've got 32 wigs.
Yeah, I literally did. I was like, brought all my wigs, guys.
That was probably a fun day when you showed them all the wigs.
It was. Yes. Yeah. And then we just write and take notes and give notes and do rewrites. And I don't know how it came together, how we got the theme for this one, but it just kind of entered on our TV guide. Our last show was Doodles TV guide. So we all just kind of had TV shows. And then that was a good way of us to have sketches written. Because we'd be like, well, what are we missing? Oh, we're missing The View, or we're missing a cop show. So then we can write sketches on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been such a lovely time. And we're going to apply to the Funny Fest again. And I have an idea. I want to do a holiday show for them. With them. And it's just, yeah.
Beautiful.
It's been a blast. I've been getting out of what I like to call my writing PTSD after the Growlings. So it's been really nice to be able to just write again what I think is wacky and weird.
Is it crazy to have no one around above you, in quotes, telling you about your art? Like you are kind of, in a sad way, maybe alone now. Suddenly you're alone on this island in New Mexico and you're like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Is that a good feeling, or do you miss having some schooling or something like that?
Well, that's such a good question, because I love the freedom. But I do love, and maybe it's just because I should trust myself more, but I do love other people's rewrites maybe, or I, or somebody, and maybe it's just because I've taken so many classes and I'm just like stuck in that vibe.
Or you've just seen the value in other people's feedback on your work.
Yeah. I just want like, how can we make this funnier? Or how can this, does this work? Because that is kind of alone where you're just like, does it work? Does it even...
Maybe as an improviser, you're like, I want to have a dialogue about my comedy less than like, this is what I think for sure.
Yes. And that goes back to that college when I talked to that guy. I want to do comedy, but I want to do it with other people. How do I do that?
We did a sketch show for the Funny Fiesta 2 years ago, and it was almost all stand-ups doing the writing for it. Oh. And the feedback section part of it was a nightmare because none of them want to hear feedback about their stuff except unless it's laughs from the crowd. Like, but the writing of it, they're like, but I worked hard on this and I did this, and it's like,
oh, cool. Yeah, I almost was like, did I overstep there and say stand-ups are like that? But thank you for
confirming. But no, exactly. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's just a completely different approach to it, and like, it is one of those things when I think about, because there's a bunch of comedians right now on the stand-up side that are like, it'd be cool to do a sketch show, and I'm just even hearing your approach to it and like knowing what I know their approach to it is. Yeah, it would be like the shows would look so different from each other.
Yeah. You with sketch, like you really have to take notes, man. Like you can't just write it once. And I would feel like that would be stand-up though. Like you can't just write it once.
No, and then we did. I mean, we got through it. We got through it. But there was a lot more tension and some friction about like, no, I'm not going to take that note, or I'm not, you know what I mean? And it was just kind of like, let's take a break for a sec.
Right. Guys, remember we wanted to make a sketch show.
But you can kind of see that, I think, on SNL too, when you can see some of the writers, the performers who come in from the world of stand-up versus the ones who were chosen from Groundlings or from Second City, and you just kind of the ones who did stand-up end up doing weekend update bits a lot more than doing like the actual character-based things that have like longer legs or stuff like that too.
Right. Yes, they have their characters, but their characters on Weekend Update. Yeah, they have their monologues.
Yeah. They don't interact with other people.
Right.
With others, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I love people, like I was my menopause sketch in the last thing. I wrote it and then I was like, hey guys, tell me how it can be better. Give me notes. What's funny? What do we need to make funnier? And I think that's kind of also with growth too. Yeah.
It was cool to go to a show that was very, what's the right, female centric? I don't know. A lot of perspective, a lot of the sketches about things that like, were educational in some ways, even to me. I'm like, just interesting to go to a piece of art and be like, oh, this is definitely like from women, not for women by any means, but like from female creators. Yeah. And that was more revealing to me how much stuff is not that. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, like what is most of this? If this feels that way, why does this feel different or whatever? It's just interesting.
Right.
There was a lot of strength in it, I felt, in a lot of ways. A lot of like, I don't know. Yeah. Some beautiful like processing of female issues that, it was lovely to see.
Yeah. And you know what's fun about that is that we didn't go in saying, hey, let's make this a lady show.
And it didn't feel preachy or aggressive. It just felt like, oh shit, this is a perspective that I'm not used to, but I can totally relate to, and it was funny. And like, that's the key, is like, can you make something that does have your voice accidentally, kind of. I think when you try, if you tried to make a show do something to me, like, no thanks, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's coming from, at least for me, what I'm going through at that moment, right? Yeah. So then how, like, and I think this is for any comedy, is like, what am I going through right now, and how can I make that funny?
Yeah, and I think that's what resonated. It was real, Right. It wasn't preachy issues. It was real issues that you're experiencing or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I really enjoyed and was proud of the fact that we could do that without even saying up front, which I don't think anybody does really, but I don't know. I was just kind of proud of that too. And like, I'm excited to see what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
Excited about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like once you get one, you did it. Now you can
Yeah.
do another, and then
It's
another,
like,
another.
let's do it again. Like, yeah, I love it. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. And I just wanted to be on Saturday Night Live and do sketch comedy.
Mhm.
But then now I'm like, oh, they stay up all night and they live in New York. It's not my vibe.
I mean, I'd argue you're on like a pretty close thing to it. The show is like Albuquerque's longest running comedy thing, and then on the side you're doing sketch. Like you are manifesting a reality that you want.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah. I'm not getting paid $5,000 a week for it.
Yeah, more money, more problems.
Exactly.
Money would all go to your New York rent too, by the way.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. When would I have time for anything?
Yeah.
So this is so much better, and I'm glad that I realized that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the pandemic.
I ain't crazy, right?
We don't need to put that out there. We don't need
No.
to say that. We don't have under no circumstances do we have to give it
Are
up.
you guys talking about me?
You miss me. I'll come back.
Buy these ladies a drink.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Cut that part out.
Well, okay. So Leslie, as we're winding this down, do you want to just like throw out some plugs? Like, where can people find you regularly? I know, like that kind of stuff. Like, where like you've thrown out a couple things. So
The Doodles. I would say the Doodles, Albuquerque.
Oh, you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram.
I'm at
The Doodles. I would say the Doodles is on Instagram at the Doodles ABQ.
Cool.
My Instagram is.
You don't have to give that out if you don't want to.
I know. No, my Instagram is private because there's a lot of creepy dudes.
Yes, that's why I was saying don't do that. But the Doodles.
If you feel comfortable, your private address would also be fine. If you want
my social security number.
I like socials.
The Doodles ABQ. I would say like that's the best. Where else? Oh.
And then the show, but you perform. How often do you perform in the show?
I would say
once a weekend?
I try to do once a weekend, yes. And then every now and then we'll take a weekend off. So it is a once a weekend, a lovely time. I did move downtown, so I'm possibly going to be.
Where specifically? We don't have any creeps that listen to us, actually. I'm pretty sure. It would take a creep a long time to get through this.
It's just Tito. It's only Tito. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So you will be doing more work, you believe? More comedy. More comedy.
I hope so.
That's good news to the world.
Right. And I want to be more involved in, I don't know, other theater things. I don't know.
Maybe do some stand-up.
All right, come on by.
I mean, I could bring back my 8 minutes.
Bring that 8 back. I want to roll in the aisle.
Yeah. People were rolling. I have it on video. They videoed it. It was fantastic.
Just show that. Go to an open mic and just show it.
Just play it and be like,
that. Sarah, someone that's hanging on to an earlier stand-up set that was really good.
This is really good. And you guys might like it.
We talked a bit about this. This is a little unrelated, but kind of related. After the improv shows, like we go to a bar and we talk. And it's so funny when someone will try to get post-improv scene credit. They'll be like, I was going to come in as the horse. And then people are like, oh, that would have been good. And it's funny how you can like sometimes get a little bit of like post-show credit for ideas.
Yes. Oh, you guys, I thought about this. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so good.
You know what's good about improvisers is that they agree with you and go, oh man, yeah, good for you for thinking that thought. It didn't happen.
I guess, I mean, it's so tiny. We're probably done. But like, do you believe there's a rivalry between improv and stand-up? That is kind of the thesis of our show. So what are your thoughts on that? Have you seen it? Have you experienced it?
I guess going back to that guy in college that didn't even tell me improv existed. Freaking guy. I thought there was. I feel like people think there is. Well, when you're in it, everyone just wants to be funny. But then I think, there are people that just can't do stand-up, or people that just can't do improv because they're just better at the other one. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the rivalry that we think of.
It's just shame.
Shame. Because I will say that, because I'm blaming it all on the guy. It's the guy's fault. After I graduated college, I came back to Albuquerque. I had no idea improv existed. I tried to take a stand-up class at Laughs. I didn't understand how to write jokes. And then I thought I was not ever going to be a comedian because I didn't understand. And I thought that was going to have to be my path. So I think whatever gets you in it gets you the laughing. I don't know. Maybe there is. It's hard.
Yeah. No,
The
that's kind of
people
what
that I know love it all.
Yeah.
And they just know that they're better at one than the other.
Mhm.
You know? That fucking guy.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you,
for,
Leslie.
sharing so much personal information. It's very nice.
Yes, you're welcome. And my birth date is my mother's maiden name. Thank you guys for having me. I really love talking comedy. I could talk for it forever. So thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to segment 3. This is the, where we do like a rando, or we answer one of your questions, or we talk about our Patreon, which is still going very strong. And you can show your allegiance to either Team Stand Up or Team Improv by going to patreon.com/the Goofball Coalition podcast. It's always out there for you. $1 a month. Worth it.
I got a stupid question for segment 3 for you.
Yeah.
What is the grossest thing you've ever experienced in or around one of your shows?
I have other people's stories that would horrify you. There was a man who killed himself on stage one time. That was not at all during my tenure as a comedian. No, it didn't happen in Albuquerque. I want to say it happened in New York or something like that. But he like stabbed himself in the chest a whole bunch of times and died. So that's part of the history of comedy that has happened at one point. What I've witnessed, I have seen people be real spitty. I've seen some people get like little Jonathan Groff mouth where they just like get real goopy. And that's never my favorite. I've seen people have a full Michael Richards like racism breakdown where they get like they don't even know where it comes from.
Anxiety just like reaches a point where they just unleash.
Yeah, and so I've seen that happen before, and I consider that to be very gross. I've seen challenge shows where people have thrown up. Like there was a show where people had to take like 5 shots of whiskey in a 5-minute set, and I've seen people throw up from that. And then I've done drinking shows too, where people sometimes can't really hold their alcohol by the end of that one too. So, what about you?
I think I might have talked about it here. I just stepped in dog shit once.
Yeah.
That's about it. Right before I went on, it was backstage. There's a theater dog, sweet little guy.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's it. You don't have any. nobody's ever stabbed themselves in the chest during an improv show.
Nothing. You definitely blew me away with that answer.
Can you imagine?
Not
even the object work of pretending to do that would be like, that's too much. That's too much.
Horrifying. Yeah. I mean, I think I've maybe seen some students and stuff have some breakdowns or whatever, but yeah, never like a place where I think it feels like stand-up, like you might have the moment, I can imagine a switch flips where you feel like you're under attack almost, and you have to defend yourself up there, and everyone is fucking against you. And so I can see where like my anxiety could make me think that and then like attack or defend myself or whatever. But I think in improv more, you're just like, what the fuck? And then you like run away a little bit. I don't think you normally hold your ground there. Whereas in stand-up, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of built in to hold your ground.
There's a story, I think I read it. I don't remember where I read this, but it's Scott Adsit from 30 Rock. And he's also in like Moral Oral and all those ones. When he was in Second City, they had a sketch where they told the audience that the president had been shot, and that they had to stop the show in order to like bring in a TV and watch the news. And then when they brought it in, they just put on sports bloopers and just sat and watched sports bloopers for like 10 minutes. And that was all the sketch was. And they freaked everybody out and then popped the bubble by just having it be goofy. And that seems pretty intense.
Yeah. I like that idea. That's funny. It's technically funny.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you got anything coming up? Any shows or anything special?
Yeah, every Friday and Saturday down on 2nd and Gold in Albuquerque. It's always worth it to come check it out. You never know who's going to drop in. We always have cool, crazy people. And then the Funny Fiesta is on its way. It comes in September, from September 18th to the 22nd, and we have a fantastic headliner this year. We have Lori Kilmartin, who was a writer for Conan, and she's been on like every late night show and has 1 million credits, and we're super excited to have her. So super worth it to check that out. But how about you?
Same, just Friday and Saturday downtown, Second and Gold. Check us out. Come see improv or stand up. We have people come to our show a little late and then they go to your show. It's like, great.
And same thing too, with like people come to our show and they'll be like, well, I'm not waiting, and then they go to yours. So it's kind of fun. It's a nice little symbiosis.
Come down and like try these different kinds of comedy. If you like one of them, you're probably gonna like the other one.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Thank you all so much for listening.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.